Hey there, my wedding planning friends, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, thanks so much for clicking on this video. I'm Emily Summer. I'm a wedding planner based in Montana, and I make weekly videos on wedding planning tips and advice. As we enter into what is quickly going to become wedding season, I wanted to do a video for all my couples out there, no matter what stage in the process you are with planning, to help hopefully make your lives a little bit easier. So today's video is 15 tips to keep you stress-free during wedding planning. Number one, it's never too early. If you just got engaged and you already know the venue that you want, you already know the dress that you want, or any of those decisions early on, it's never too early to book items that you already know that you want, regardless of where they fit in kind of the overall checklist timeline for wedding planning. The only exception here is don't book before you have a budget set, and also don't book anything before you know what your guest count is going to be. Your venue decision might ultimately come down to what your guest count is looking like, and obviously you don't want to be booking things before you know what your budget is so that you're not spending an astronomical amount of your budget on one item and then leaving you with a small portion of your budget to make last through all of the other decisions that you have to make. Other than that though, it's never too early to start researching, it's never too early to start reaching out to vendors and getting sort of an idea of what you want for your wedding. That being said, number two is don't rush. Don't feel like the second you get engaged you have to have a wedding date set or you have to have your guest list all figured out. Take the time to just enjoy your engagement. Don't feel the need to make any decisions right away, even though you're probably going to get asked by everybody that you know immediately after you get engaged. Number three, do your research and research early. So if you're unsure of who you want for your photographer, if you haven't been thinking about your wedding for years prior to getting engaged, make sure that you set enough time aside to do your research on vendors before you make any actual decisions. This will also help you in minimizing that feeling of, did I choose the right person or did I make the right decision? If you're doing your research early and you're really getting a feel for what's out there and what speaks to you and what you like, then you'll feel a lot better moving forward in the process. Number four, prioritize. I talk about this a lot in a lot of my videos. Prioritizing is key for so many reasons, and especially when you are sitting down to make a lot of the plans, the initial plans for your wedding after you get engaged. Sitting down with your partner and talking about what your priorities are, both independently and together, so that you can make sure you're on the same page with decision making, and that'll also help you kind of allocate your budget too. So if you realize that your priority is having really beautiful photos that you can look back on, then that's probably going to be a place that you splurge perhaps a little bit more in the budget. If your partner's main priority is having a really fun environment, really fun party, having a good dance floor, then you're going to want to make sure that you spend a good amount of time researching and probably again allocating a little bit more money in the budget for a good DJ. So those are the kinds of things to be discussing in the early process of planning. That will help make your decisions and just the way that you feel about your planning process a lot easier. Number five, plan in phases. I hear a lot of clients that get burnout, and that's, either trying to make all these decisions at the very beginning, boom, 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 one after another, and it gets exhausting. It does. I totally get that. So it's a good idea to kind of plan in phases, especially if you're working a full-time job that's really demanding. Making the decisions on those bigger ticket items, the big vendors like your venue, catering, photographer, those kinds of things earlier on, and maybe doing it all kind of in a 1 to 2 month chunk period of time, and then kind of laying off wedding plans for a little while. Make sure you have your guest list figured out early on, and then just kind of sit back, look at inspiration photos, enjoy being engaged, and don't feel the need to be working on your wedding every single day from the time you get engaged until your wedding day. It's okay to take breaks. It's okay to sit back and not do wedding planning for a period of time and then revisit it after a couple months go by and you're ready to enter into the wedding planning process more refreshed, more creative ideas, and that's totally okay. Number six, delegate little things. I'm sure there's a lot of people in your life that are offering to help, whether that's your parents, your friends, your bridal party, whoever that may be. And maybe you're the type of person that likes to do everything on your own, and that's totally fine. But when it comes to little decisions, it's okay to delegate other people to help you and assist you with this. It'll help take some of those menial tasks off of your plate and also help make the people that are in your life feel a little bit more involved in this day. Number 7, start shopping for your wedding dress early. This is something that I think a lot of people don't really realize until they're already starting the shopping process, is that a wedding dress can take 5 to 6 months to come in, and then you have to also consider the amount of time that you'll need for any sort of alterations. And if you're getting married in the summer, especially if you live in a location where I do, where there's only a handful, if that, of really great seamstresses, they're going to get really busy and really backed up during those summer months to get the dresses done on time. And so that could mean a waiting list to even get your dress in for alterations. So just make sure that you are shopping for your dress early enough so that you have a chance to not feel rushed, not feel like you have to make a decision based on simply what's going to be available for you, and it'll just really, really help lower those stress levels. Number 8, keep it simple. If you're getting overwhelmed by all the options there are for flowers or colors or centerpieces or whatever it may be, there's a dog outside my window. All right, Sparky. Just keep it simple. Number 9, skip the things that you don't want or need. I did a whole video on things that your guests don't care about at your wedding. If you want to check that out, that will help list a lot of things that I'm referring to here. But if you're not interested in having it at your wedding, don't spend the time to plan it, don't spend the time to make it, and just don't worry about it. You don't have to include everything that you had seen at previous weddings or everything that your parents want you to have at your wedding. If it's something that you don't care about, don't include it. Number 10, trust your vendors. You hired them for a reason, you're paying them for a reason. Don't micromanage what their job is to do for your wedding, and just trust that they are going to provide the services that they signed in a contract with you and that they will deliver. Number 11, it's okay to ask for help. Like I said before, there's a lot of people in your life that are probably willing to help you with your wedding plans, and don't feel the need that just because this is your wedding day that you have to do all of the planning yourself and that you're burdening other people to help you, or maybe your partner's really busy with work and you don't want to ask for their opinion on certain things because they're so busy. Ask for help when you need to, and it's going to make this a lot more enjoyable for you. Number 12, hire a planner. Whether that's a full-on wedding planner or just a day of coordinator, that's going to help you manage your stress levels, especially when it comes to your wedding weekend, so that you aren't having to worry about all those last-minute details, having to build your own timeline. Make sure that it makes sense, make sure that it's feasible, make sure that everybody's arriving on time, make sure that the vendors have what they need. All of that stuff, all of that stress can be eliminated by simply hiring somebody to be on your team to take care of all of that for you. Number 13, get off Pinterest. Once you've made decisions, stop looking at Pinterest. Stop looking for inspiration. You're just going to second guess yourself. You might change your mind, and that's just going to be so much added unnecessary stress. So pick out your wedding dress, get off Pinterest. Pick out your colors, your bridesmaids' dresses, your centerpieces. Stop looking at Pinterest. Number 14, limit your DIY. I understand if you're trying to save money and DIY a lot of things for your wedding, that's fantastic. But sit down and really figure out exactly how many items you plan on DIYing and estimate the amount of time that's going to take you. And then multiply that time by about 3. So DIYing always takes a lot longer than you think it's going to. You're either paying in your time or you're paying with money when it comes to items for your wedding. So if you're somebody that's working full time, you don't have a ton of extra time to dedicate to projects for your wedding, it's just going to stress you out to try and find the time to DIY all of these things, and it might be worth it for you to just pay somebody to make them for you or to create items that are already in existence so that you don't have to do it. If you do plan on DIYing a lot of things for your wedding, do it super far in advance. Space out the projects so that you're working on them over the course of your engagement, so that you're not left with like the month before your wedding having to bust out all of these crazy DIY projects. That's just going to make you stressed out right before your wedding, and that's no fun. And finally, enjoy the process. Keep in mind that while there's a lot that goes into wedding planning, it can be stressful, and that's normal, but don't forget what you're doing in the process. You are planning this beautiful wedding day to celebrate you and your partner, and try and enjoy the process as much as possible, and take breaks when you need to. Really savor this time, because you only get to be engaged for this period of time and then it's over. And while the wedding day is a really special day, it's not the most important thing. Your marriage is the most important thing. So don't lose sight of that during the process, and try and just enjoy the journey. So there are 15 tips to help you have a relatively stress-free wedding, and hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe to get weekly videos on wedding planning tips and advice, and we'll see you next week.